Eastern Shore remaining under weather alert. I'm going to let you know what impacts this could have on your Orioles game this evening in my Weather Authority forecast.
We're not falling for it. This isn't about safety. This is about profits.
A group of Baltimore City residents moving forward with a lawsuit against BGE over external gas regulators. The latest on the case and the flip-flop from BGE we're learning about now. Former President Trump is back on the campaign trail hours after the release of new audio recordings that could be key evidence in the case against him. We'll have a live report on what it means for his White House run.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And we begin on weather alert and check out these time lapses of the storms that just rolled through. You're looking at our Harbor Cam and Towson Cam on opposite sides of the same cell that brought lightning, thunder, and intense downpours at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And now we want to give you a live look at those same cameras right now. Downtown and Towson, things are looking much better, although Towson still has that dark cloud above it. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. The severe weather threat, not like it was yesterday, but the rain is much more widespread. Let's go right to Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers tracking these storms right now. Jonathan?
Yeah, a few hail reports and a bit of wind taking down a couple of trees here and there. Not as widespread as yesterday, but we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning. That remains in effect for Caroline County. That's right around Preston, Denton, south of Greensboro, east of Easton. In the city, much better news if you have plans on going to the Orioles game. You see that there's still a green box. It's here. That's a flood warning. That's from the rain that we had a couple hours ago. There was 1 to 3 inches of rain. So some of the area streams, creeks, drainage basins, those could be overflowing. So keep that in mind. But I think the game is going to get off okay with all those heavier rains now beginning to push east. You see there 1 to 3 inches we saw earlier. Thankfully, that not displaced a couple hours, or else we would be threatening the O's game. By about 7, 8 o'clock tonight, that all moving east. There could be a stray shower. 7:05 is our start time. But outside of that, I don't think anything to really delay the game. More could be on the way for the weekend. We'll be tracking that in a couple of minutes.
Jonathan, thank you. Scan the QR code on your screen to show us what the weather is like in your neighborhood. If you can safely take pictures and videos, we want to see them. The QR code will take you right to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime in, where you can upload them. You might see them on air or online. Well, some bold allegations today from a group of Baltimore residents suing BGE as the utility company installs thousands of external gas regulators throughout Baltimore.
This lawsuit will make clear to the courts, and we hope to the public, that BGE is not on your side. They are doing what they've always done, protecting and profiting off of the backs of customers in Baltimore City.
More than 100 people have signed onto the class action lawsuit accusing the utility company of illegally threatening gas shutoffs and shutting off gas in some cases if they don't agree to have gas regulators installed outside of their homes. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has the latest.
Sidewalks and streets torn up in some Baltimore neighborhoods, all part of BGE's project to install external gas regulators. Some residents so strongly opposed to the new outside gas meters, 3 women spent a night in jail for intentionally blocking utility crews in Federal Hill last week.
This is an abomination.
Those protesters, now among more than 100 Baltimoreans, suing BGE, hoping a judge will halt construction.
We are asking for immediate action. We're asking for an emergency hearing to make sure this gets resolved as quickly as possible.
That lawsuit filed Friday. An attorney for the residents says lawyers and the court are still working behind the scenes to get schedules in order as they try to set a hearing for a temporary restraining order. They're pushing back on BGE's claim that external gas regulators are to improve safety and speed up natural gas delivery.
We're not falling for it. This isn't about safety. This is about profits.
Among the exhibits entered in this class action lawsuit, this February 2020 position statement from BGE to Maryland's General Assembly on the topic of external regulators.
360, how many ambulances do we have responding to this incident?
Maryland legislators were considering legislation in response to this 2016 deadly gas explosion at a Silver Spring apartment complex. BGE has several densely populated areas, such as Baltimore City, that don't often provide for appropriate open outside space to allow for outside meter or regular installations. BGE said in part, also writing the utility needs to consider laws that prevent locating equipment on public rights-of-way, in historic locations, or in conflict with the American Disability Act standards. Today, we questioned BGE about why its position on installing external regulators in Baltimore City has changed in the last 3.5 years. BGE said in a statement it supported the bill with amendments, recommending the legislation be modified to allow BGE situational exceptions if it was unable to install a regulator. Also saying the bill was ultimately modified to adjust for safety and ADA compliance. Meantime, those suing the utility company calling for construction to halt while they wait for a judge to take up the case.
They're so confident they're going to prevail in court. Just take a minute to allow these homeowners to not have their gas cut off while there is pending litigation.
Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Now, Fox 45 News has been following the controversy over the gas regulator since the news broke last week when we brought you the arrest of those 3 residents live on air. We will continue to follow this developing story. You can find all of our original reporting on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Well, drugs, guns, and violence. Fox 45 News is asking questions after some defendants in 2 recent drug trafficking busts were granted pre-trial release or simply issued a criminal summons. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell has the story.
The concern is these defendants, whether they've been granted pretrial release or aren't being monitored at all, may go on to commit other crimes while they're awaiting their court date. It's happened before, and officials admit it's an issue. Drugs, guns,
10 dealers off our streets, and 22 firearms off our streets.
And violence.
We have had way too many shootings, way too many, too much recruitment of our young people into these networks.
Authorities in Anne Arundel County just announcing indictments against 10 people in what was the biggest cocaine bust in the police department's history. 7 of them issued a criminal summons, meaning they are not being held or monitored until their court date. And in Baltimore,
7 of the 8 do have criminal records.
Authorities also just announcing the takedown of a drug trafficking ring. 2 of the defendants granted pretrial release.
2 individuals that, though they did receive electronic home detention, 24/7 lockdown, and those are the decisions of the judges.
Here, the mayor acknowledging the long-standing concern with Maryland's home monitoring systems.
I'll take a point of privilege to highlight the frustrations that we've had with home monitoring over the years.
Frustration over the proper monitoring of those on home confinement and the risk of the defendants committing other crimes.
Somebody just ran over a cop.
Like in 2018, when Baltimore County police officer Amy Caprio was hit and killed by a teen who investigators say was supposed to be on home confinement at the time. Or in 2021, when investigators say suspect Angelo Harrod had cut off his ankle monitor before shooting and killing a Navy midshipman's mother in Annapolis. Or Antonio Bardney, who investigators say removed his electronic monitor while on pretrial release for murder. A murder he allegedly committed while wearing an ankle monitor for a different crime. Federal authorities having to join the search for him.
He's not scared of being arrested. He's not scared of ankle monitoring. And he's going to continue to do these crimes until he is put behind bars.
Leaders have acknowledged the issue, and even some lawmakers taken action.
I'm also working with the mayor in reference to home monitor. And those folks that are violating their home monitor, how can we make sure that our police immediately know so that they can take them off the streets?
But concern remains.
So we'll be monitoring that very closely because we've known that, unfortunately, folks with home monitoring seem to not be monitored sometimes.
Back to the case out of Anne Arundel County. Officials say one of the 10 defendants has not yet been found. He's been identified as Tony Horn Jr. 2 of the defendants were denied bond. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Well, Mayor Brandon Scott is confirming updates to his summer youth engagement strategy that includes closing youth connection centers. Fox 45 News broke the news of the end of the program at the Rita Church Community Center last week. The mayor says the resources from that center will be shifted to the C.C. Jackson Rec Center. He says it will help save money as no young people have been transported to the centers. Another change, 10 rec centers will expand their hours, staying open until 11 p.m. every Friday. The mayor says the curfew will still be enforced and enforcement hours will stay the same. The Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement is playing a key role in the summer engagement strategy, as well as other public safety initiatives in the city. The director of that office, Shantae Jackson, is stepping down on Friday. Now we know who will replace her, at least for now. We'll have a full report on the future of the office coming up on Fox 45 News at 10. Recreational marijuana will be legal in Maryland starting on Saturday. On Fox 45 News at 5, we spoke with an attorney who broke down what people will and will not be able to do.
So there aren't any, at least as far as I'm aware, any local county ordinances that are going to ban the smoking and use of marijuana in a public place. However, there is a statewide prohibition against the use of marijuana in a public place. In other words, open smoking, similar to an open container type law. Can't go out and drink alcohol in public. You shouldn't be able to go and smoke marijuana in public. It's only a finable offense, doesn't carry any jail time. Most importantly, the General Assembly also passed a law that indicated police can't stop and search you based on the smell or suspicion of marijuana only.
Fox 45 News will continue to follow the lead up to marijuana legalization on Saturday and keep you updated on what happens after that. You can follow along both online and on air. Still ahead, a pup date on an otter pup at the Maryland Zoo. How she's doing after she was rescued from a state park. New audio recordings of former President Trump have some wondering if prosecutors now have what they need to convict him. What we're learning and what it could mean for his White House run.
And you might be a little concerned if you're headed to the Orioles game this evening that we might see what we saw last night weather-wise tonight. But no, not going to be the case. Showers moving east by first pitch at 7:05 in the 70s. Looks like it dries out readily and steadily by the 5th and 9th inning. Go O's. I'm going to let you know when we can see more storms for the weekend in a couple of minutes.
Former President Trump was back on the campaign trail Tuesday, just hours after the release of new audio recordings obtained by CNN that could be key evidence in the case against him. In that 2021 recording, Trump acknowledges possessing classified documents and that he was unable to declassify them post-presidency. Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman joins us from Washington with what it could mean for Trump's criminal case and, of course, his campaign. Scott?
Yeah, Mary, good evening to you. And it's always been either a pro or a pitfall, depending on how you want to look at it, when it comes to former President Trump and his desire to talk about things, even when he's mired in sensitive situations, even legal ones, and continuing to do so today.
They even tried to have me arrested. I'm a candidate. I said, wait a minute, I'm a candidate.
A typically defiant Donald Trump, this time trying to diminish recordings in which he seemingly admitted he didn't have the power to keep and show off classified documents after leaving the White House.
Yeah. See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is classified.
Now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. It's so cool. I mean, it's so, look, here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's incredible, right?
The papers, CNN reports, included classified information about a Pentagon plan of attack on an unspecified foreign country.
The prosecution is going to argue, look, we've got him with a classified document, and he's bragging about having it, and he's acknowledging that really that he shouldn't have it and that he can't declassify it. So I think it will be powerful evidence.
While admitting it is serious, Trump supporters also allege bias, saying there's blame for President Biden, too.
I have real questions about Joe Biden, not just taking classified information when he had no declassification authority, but taking them during a time as senator. And President Trump is right to point to many of those double standards.
The court battle to come, just one element of the saga surrounding Trump's actions. Another is the political impact it could have on the campaign trail as opponents tee off.
He has let us down because he's unwilling. He's unwilling to take responsibility for any of the mistakes that were made. And that is not leadership, everybody. That is a failure of leadership.
Trump loyalists often dismissing the critics and hope anything that doesn't end Trump's campaign makes him stronger. New NBC polling indicating he's actually increased his lead in the battle for the Republican nomination since his indictment. And the former U.S. attorney you heard from in that piece, Mary, telling me that anytime prosecutors can use a defendant's own words against him or her, that's considered huge. Expect to hear plenty of that in the opening remarks as well.
And so, Scott, what does this mean for Trump's defense on this matter? What does he say? What do his attorneys say?
Well, the analysis on that, Mary, is that if you're on the former president's legal defense team, you're a little nervous every time he talks, especially when he wants to address an issue like this. And so in that respect, they say the attorneys are going to have to come up with some pretty good explanations.
They sure are. Thank you, Scott. It's going to be a unique case and a campaign season for sure. Thanks live from Washington tonight. We appreciate it.
You got it.
Well, we've been under weather alert all afternoon long, and now into the evening, things are gradually getting better. So out east of Chestertown, still around Kent County area, we do have a flood advisory now that lasts until about 6 p.m., 8 p.m. hour. So we still have a couple hours until that expires. But outside of that, really has cleared out nicely just in time for the Orioles game or anything you want to do outside, even up toward, say, Tawnytown right now, no rain. But there's still a little bit more. Notice as the sun comes out, we're destabilizing the atmosphere one more time west of Frederick, west of Carroll County. So there could be one more little round of some spot showers before this all ends this evening. So anywhere between about 2 to 3 inches of rain here in the city. Thankfully, this, again, I would say not displaced by a couple of hours because this could have had major implications on the Orioles game. But did get about an inch of rain in a very quick period of time. Had some flood warnings earlier about 4 or 5 o'clock. That now has moved east and slowly draining things off from Odenton down to Baldwin Hills, as we've seen anywhere up to about 2 inches of rain there in a very fast period of time. Some moisture-rich air has been interacting with a cold front coming through. That continues to press east, and finally, we will get in on drier air. It's taken about 2 days to do it, but that will happen for tomorrow. We'll sweep this whole messy pattern out, at least for a day or two. Now it's 76. That's rain cooled, mostly cloudy skies on the Mile 1 Towson Cam. Winds are calm. Our dew point, that's our measure of moisture in the air, way up there near 70 degrees. So it's still kind of sticky and steamy, and that's how it's going to be as we again start our O's game this evening, or you do anything outside, maybe sit on the porch or try to do some grilling, fit that in between lines of showers. That big band of rain does move east, but notice a couple more spot showers and maybe a rumble through about 7:45, 8 o'clock. Should not be severe, but again, just to kind of wrap this up, by about 10 to midnight, that does push east onto the eastern shore and then away and out. So your forecast for tonight, late tonight turns less humid, otherwise mostly cloudy, showers, any thunderstorms ending as we work through the evening hours. And then for tomorrow, a much nicer day. 82 degrees, clouds and some sunshine, less humid, maybe hop on the bike or get outside and enjoy this weather any way you can, because heat and humidity is going to be back. And it looks like maybe a chance of showers and storms as well. I'm going to let you know what the wettest days look like as we head towards the July 4th holiday weekend. My exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Canadian wildfire smoke is once again turning skies gray and reducing air quality. You can barely make out the horizon at South Haven Beach along Lake Michigan. The smoke moves into the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic tomorrow. A very well-defined rain shaft brought a downpour to central Kansas this morning, and here's an amazing bolt of lightning early this morning in Myrtle Beach.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Growing concern across the nation about new drugs that don't respond to Narcan. What you need to know in tonight's Assignment America report. In tonight's Assignment America, growing concern about new drugs that are arriving in Western Washington, and these drugs don't respond to Narcan, the opioid blocking medication. Lynn Ann Nguyen with our Sinclair sister station in Seattle explains.
I was shocked. You know, we don't need that in a community like this or any community.
3 people rushed to the hospital from drug overdoses over the weekend at this senior apartment complex in Everett.
It is a common call for firefighters to respond to subjects overdosing. Several weeks ago, we responded to the Snohomish County Jail for 7 people that overdosed.
Fire officials are awaiting toxicology reports to determine what drug the patients took. But some communities in Western Washington are starting to see a veterinary tranquilizer called xylazine, also known as Tranq, which is not meant for human use, but has been mixed with other drugs like fentanyl.
Narcan works. What is happening is we're seeing cocktail drugs. We're seeing other things that are mixed with opioids, such as xylazine, or Tranq is the sort of street name for it. And that is not an opioid.
Experts say Narcan works to reverse the effects of opioids or synthetic opioids like fentanyl, but will not be effective on other drugs like Tranq.
Unfortunately, there's nothing that you can do as a bystander right now to address the xylazine overdose. They really do need medical attention at that point.
While Tranq is still rare locally, local organizations and health departments are preparing for it to eventually become more widespread in this region.
I think it's only a matter of time. I think that this is something that's happening somewhere else, so we would be foolish not to pay attention to the trends that are happening somewhere else in other large cities.
Pure Seattle already dispenses free harm reduction supplies like fentanyl test strips and Narcan through their vending machine, and they're looking at other tools to help.
There are xylazine test strips available. They are not widely used yet, and they're a little bit harder to access, so we are still working on trying to get some into our vending machine.
All right, well, taking a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast after a rough couple of days, finally a little bit of a treat for tomorrow. Clouds and some sunshine, 82, but no rain chance. It's another less humid day on Thursday, although the warmth starts creeping back in, 87. Then we're above 90 again. That's hot and humid on Friday. Spotty storms in the afternoon. Going to have to dodge a few showers and thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday, but I think you'll be able to probably get the beach and the pool in there as well. But if you're really looking for some good days, I think those rain chances tail off into early next week. By July 4th, 88, mostly sunny, reaches to near 90 by the end of next week.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, finally tonight, an update on the baby otter rescued from a Maryland state park. Look at her in this little pool. She is learning to swim. She was less than 2 months old when she was taken to the hospital a couple of weeks ago. And it's around this age that they learn to get in the water and take their first swimming lessons. Keepers slowly are raising the water level in the pool, and she has reached half full, happily splashing along, chasing her tail there. That's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.